Alright, welcome to Turtle Talk. This is the second episode, and that was a quick intro to this. So, trying to do things a bit different, a little bit more better. I was really just playing around with the XSplit, trying to do stuff, and I found out cool effects I can do. So I threw some music to it. Anyways, this episode I recorded part 2 because I screwed up on the other one, and the other time I recorded it, microphone was too close and everything was like Darth Vader. It was bad. So we're re-recording, and I hope you guys like the topic. I hope you guys will want to talk about the topic in the YouTube comment section, or if you guys want to talk on Facebook and Twitter, my Facebook.com/turtlenumber13 or twitter.com/turtlenumber13. That's number is spelled out. We'll do the quick slide and see how that is. Turtle number 13. If you're on the YouTube or already on my Facebook, you're probably already seeing that, so you already know. Anyways, that is a good place to go and talk to it. So, really, the topic for discussion being that I've always been bothered by the American cartoons, American animation, for one thing, and it's not something that stopped me from watching shows. I still watch a lot of the shows that I'm going to talk about. So don't be like, why do you hate this show? It's not that. It's totally not that I hate the show. It's just that I wish that the American animators would learn something from Japanese animators. That they would just learn how to make a human look. And we went through like a long time. I think there's a lot of American animation that just like doesn't even bother or makes very animal characters, but even then they don't make them very human person, so you can like relate to them. They make just like this, blob or Smurfs. They make whatever it is, Snorks, Smurfs. Man, they just make whatever. And American animation falls on that. Japanese animation, I'm not going to say Japanese animation doesn't ever do that, because I'm sure they do. They have stuff. I mean, they have the little the little cat things that are in some like Gundam has the Haros, they're little robots that flap around. They're whatever they are. I don't know what they are. They're not the main characters in that. And then there's like Hello Kitty and stuff. But so Japanese people, they have this stuff. Japanese animation and stuff. They have the non-human characters, but they're better about having human characters, including even when they have like a character that has cat ears or rabbit ears, whatever, a tail, whatever they have. I mean, that part of that is a cultural thing, and so I don't know what to say about it. If you don't like it, you find it weird, it's because you're probably not in Japan, and it's just something that's more normal there, I guess. And it's been around for longer. So I still think that their artists are so much better than ours sometimes, because ours are just a lot more lazy. And some of the things, I mean, looking back, I can think back as far as watching Looney Tunes, and I'm not that old, so I didn't watch it when it was new. I watched it as reruns. But watching that, I'm thinking, why are these, Elmer Fudd and whatever the, dang it, I can't think of his name. Yosemite Sam. There we go. Alright. Why are these characters... Why are these characters so disproportionate? I mean, Yosemite Sam's like a dwarf. He's not a human. He's a, like, Lord of the Rings dwarf. He's got the red beard. Like, it's not a human character. He's just so disproportionate. And it bothers me. Pretty much almost anything from Hanna-Barbera. Almost anything I can think of Hanna-Barbera. The characters are just weird, like Yogi Bear. I mean, man, even the Ranger and stuff on Yogi Bear was just goofy looking. The Jetsons, man, I mean, those people were weird. Their robot was even weird looking. It was just like, you couldn't even, like, I don't know when the Jetsons was originally out, but when I'm thinking back, I'm like, they had a robot, they were futuristic, and then the Flintstones were like prehistoric, both of them, like, the characters are just goofy looking. Where I know, Gundam started in 1979. The franchise started. They made their first show, their first toys, their first all kinds of stuff back then. 1979, and Gundam still made like human characters. They still made characters that made sense. They still made characters that, had a shape that looked humanish and not just like a big blocky Hey Arnold head. They weren't little Smurfs. They weren't South Park. I brought that up too soon. South Park, was one of those shows that, like, I kind of get why they did it. Like, I kind of get why they have these weird, because they're just cutting out like construction paper and making characters and then making them go. But why? Why couldn't we have more realistic looking characters? And we hit a streak. We hit like a pretty good streak. I want to say mostly through the 90s and some of the Saturday morning cartoons. There's still some that were just like, what? There's still like the Powerpuff Girls, Hey Arnold, Doug. I mean, Doug had realistic characters, but they really didn't do much for art, paint, detail stuff. Dexter's Laboratory, he was goofy looking, and we still fall into this stuff. It still happens with like the regular show and Adventure Time. Like those are newer popular shows, but they're like I can't get into regular show. Like, I think if I watched it with my eyes shut, I could just be like, oh, that's pretty funny. I could laugh at some of the things going on. But man, when I'm watching it, I'm just like, why is there a gumball machine and a monkey and a bluebird, and why are these things even interacting? I mean, I know earlier I said I kind of want humanistic features, even if they're an animal, but they went really weird with regular show. And I know, I get people like it. People definitely enjoy it. The things that more offend me in the American animation is it's really the burp and fart jokes that we can't get past. I mean, it made sense for some characters as far back as Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera. The teachers in the Peanuts going wah 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 wah. It was just kind of a like, that's what adults sound like to kids. But we kind of got into these, like, South Park. I mean, they're more for adults. But other stuff, I mean, it doesn't appear like it's for adults. It's for kids. And the show that comes to my mind the most often, when the thing that really sparked this conversation with me one time with my friend Lewis was it was one of those like Toon Avengers, Teen Avengers, Junior Avengers, I don't know what it was. Some show, and it's Baby Hulk and Baby Wolverine, and I got past the fact that those two would have never been babies at the same time, because Wolverine's like, 100-something years old. He's been around. I can get past the fact that stuff doesn't like line up like lore to the comic books. I got past that, right? And I'm trying to watch the show, and the first joke and the running joke was like Hulk was like, pull my finger, and then one of the other Avengers was like, okay, and then Hulk's, he's just, and then he's rolling around, he's punching the ground, ha ha ha, so funny, ha ha ha, and you're just like, I don't understand. Like, who is the audience for this? Are they going for little kids? Are they trying to make like little kids laugh because he farted? I'm not allowed to fart. Like, who is that aimed for? Who's your target audience? And I mean, to me, that was one of those shows that was like, why is this happening? Why are we disgracing our comic book, stuff? Comic books are, they're up there in awesomeness. You don't make fun of that stuff. So, I mean, I made a list of quite a few. I've said quite a few of the things that I'm like, I can't get into, like, regular show. I just can't. The other things that bother me, real quick tangent, Tim and Eric's Awesome Show, Delocated. Why is this stuff on Cartoon Network? Cartoon Network, 24/7 cartoons. Do you understand the concept of playing cartoons all night? because they don't. Like, at some point, I don't know how many years ago, they used to play all cartoons. At some point, they were like, it's adults watching our stuff late at night anyways, watching Dragon Ball Z and stuff, so let's just throw on Tim and Eric. And sorry, I don't like it. I'm on that channel because I want to see cartoons. I want to see anime at night. I mean, I miss the days when Dragon Ball Z was coming on, and even Tenchi Muyo, Cowboy Bebop, the little bit of Gundam and stuff that was on, Pokemon, whatever. I mean, whatever was on that channel was like, I'll watch this. You know, it wasn't completely directed at kids, and it wasn't completely directed at being an adult. It was just anime. It was just something to watch. It was good, and it was pretty much the only channel that was ever showing that kind of stuff, so I liked it. Lately, though, I mean, the last 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 years, I keep watching these things late at night, and I'm like, I don't understand why this is on. This is Cartoon Network, not weird. We can't afford to make a cartoon show. Like, I don't know. Tangent over. So there was a point somewhere in the 90s where American stuff started getting it right, and so like I try to make a list, and I mean some of the first things I can think of that had like human characters that weren't super, Family Guy, disproportionate, ridiculous looking, was like Scooby-Doo. I mean Scooby-Doo, they had, even though they had a bad guy behind a mask in every episode, they made him human, they made him look human. Shaggy, even though he's probably like 6'4" and like 100 pounds and total stoner, he, I mean, it's at least passable that he's human. He's not some deformed person. I think where American animation started getting it right and started going with like the buff, physiqued heroes and stuff is somewhere around like He-Man, She-Ra, and stuff like that. Those were G.I. Joes. They were, they weren't showing these fat, like, let's throw out Wall-E for a second. That movie a couple years ago was like, look, we're going to be living on a spaceship, we're going to be so lazy, we're going to stroll around these chairs, we're going to see blue, we're going to push a button, we're going to change our clothes that way. We're not even going to get out, we're just going to like paint it on us. Yeah, that's a great plan. I fear for the day that happens, but if American animation's right, it's telling us we're going to be so disproportionate and so out of shape that we're not even going to want to look at things that are in shape because it's going to make us feel offended. I'm sorry, but I think we should probably, just point out the problem now. We need to stop eating. We need to exercise. But, yeah. So, back to the list of things that ran right. I mean, G.I. Joes. I want to say Ninja Turtles as one of the shows that was showing humans in a proportionate form. Now, the turtles were buff and not just some ball. They weren't just a fat turtle. They were humanish. So, I mean, that goes into the category of for me, for the category of, at least trying to make not just proportionate ugly characters. Thundercats, one of those things, they humanish shape. They got a six-pack, they're ripped muscles, they're anatomically human, and then furry. So it's weird. It's a weird genre of furry adventure animal things, but whatever. Now, I know there's more stuff like Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was the humans were at least human looking. It was, I don't know what the source material was, the movies or comics or the cartoon. I don't remember. But they had. You guys want to discuss or tell me? Please do. They had at least human characters. I mean, the ghosts were weird and goofy looking sometimes, and like Slimer was the green ghost in the cartoon. He was always falling around. And he was just a ball, but other than that, I mean, they still had stuff. I think there's shows like Jackie Chan Adventures that, it's roughly based around a Jackie Chan voicing himself kind of character where he's running around and trying to solve mysteries and stuff. It's another one of the Scooby-Doo kind of things, I think, is what that show was, roughly. And I liked it. I enjoyed that show, and the art was not offensive to me in the blobby, chunky, fat people way. Um, One of the things that I think has always kind of been covered pretty well, and always, well, when I look at American animation, I'm like, okay, we've got at least some artists that don't have to make us disproportionate. It's probably the comic book, like, genre of cartoons, and I'm gonna say X-Men. X-Men, one of those cartoons in the 90s that was like, realistic looking characters, even though they had some disproportionate and weird shaped ones. Those, their excuse was that they were X-Men. They weren't making the humans like Hey Arnold. They weren't making, Family Guy looking people. They weren't making the Simpsons. They were at least making stuff. Some of the Batman cartoons, Spider-Man cartoons in the past. Stuff like that it's generally been better on the art front for making characters. So I've always appreciated comic book movies and comics and stuff because they just have a place in my heart. I don't know what it is, but they're just I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate from like people that are like Japanese have goofy characters too and stuff like Hello Kitty and whatnot, but they definitely have more. If you start looking at the lists, I mean, there's a lot more Japanese stuff that has like humanistic figures for the main characters or the human characters, and they try and make them look like they're buff or ripped abs and muscles, and we really don't do that. One thing I'd like to see better in American animation cartoons is just more realistic characters. I mean, even some of my good examples, they're still kind of weak. They're not muscular. They're just, Scooby-Doo. The Shaggy character he's not some buff lad, And I don't want to throw out Johnny Bravo, but man, he's a goofy-looking buff guy. I don't like. He's like before Jersey Shore was a show, kind of weird. So. Let me just offend everybody in this video before I even get it on YouTube. Whatever. So anyways, if you guys want to have a conversation about this, please stop by on Facebook and Twitter with me, or leave some comments on the YouTube section, and hopefully there's enough people that get on here and want to talk about this stuff on the YouTube that there's room for some discussion. Leave some comments, talk back, try and be respectful for the others. I don't want anyone getting completely offended. I already tried to, cover my bases on everything. Take your stands, choose your battles wisely. I hope you guys are having a great week, and I'm sorry that this doesn't get up sooner, because I've tried to have better quality. I got the light that makes everything look pretty awesome over there. I need to get a better light over on that side, but anyways, since I've been trying to work that stuff out, it took me a couple days of doing other stuff and just got busy, so this would have been up sooner after the first episode of Turtle Talk, but things happen. The other recording didn't work out, so anyways, I hope you guys are having a good week. I hope you guys had kind of a, at least thoughts provoked on this topic, and that you guys have something to say or think about it, or maybe you really don't care, but if you do care, please leave some comments, and you guys have a good week, and I'll see you guys next time.